Liberty in our lifetimes in a free state of our own. That's the vision. That's the dream. And we are building it in New Hampshire. I'm Eric Brakey, your host and renegade statesman for the Porcupine Report. Welcome to your source for porcupine news and free-range conversation on matters of liberty. All right, let's hop into the show. Hey there, all you porcupines, This is your host, your renegade statesman, your executive director of the New Hampshire Free State Project, Eric Brakey, coming to you for episode, 78. Episode 78 of the Porcupine Report. Thank you as always. I think I say it every episode, but I really appreciate that our audience continues to grow. And I'm getting a lot of good feedback on the show and a lot of requests for people to come on the show. Actually, we've got guests lined up for the next 2 weeks. Next week, be sure to tune in for Spike Cohen, who will be joining us. And the week following, I've got Sarah Scott from the New Hampshire chapter of Americans for Prosperity. We're going to be talking about some of the big policy victories that have taken place this year in New Hampshire, including the final defeat of the income tax in New Hampshire, with it being permanently phased out, the interest and dividends tax. We're going to be talking about the expansion of right to try legislation, and of course, universal school choice and other policy victories that took place this year in what I sincerely think it is the most libertarian legislative body in the entire world, which is the New Hampshire House of Representatives. And maybe the New Hampshire Senate's not as libertarian, but you can push some things through across the finish line there all the same. So be sure to tune in for the next couple of weeks. If you are not already following the show, we put out a new episode every single Wednesday, 7 o'clock p.m. It comes out on multiple Free State Project social media platforms, Facebook, X, Spotify, YouTube. You can follow it, any of those places, like, share, subscribe, leave positive comments. It all helps to spread the show and let your friends know about the show. Your friends who love liberty will thank you, because we've got great conversations and good thoughts on so many interesting things going on in the liberty movement around the country and also specifically here in New Hampshire. I also want to really push you on two particular things. If you are someone who is ready to take the next step, wherever you are in your journey to liberty and being involved with the Free State Project, I encourage you, go to fsp.org and sign up for our weekly newsletter. I write it myself. You are going to love this newsletter. I promise you, it's not going to come into your inbox and you're going to roll your eyes and say, oh, another newsletter. No. This is not junk mail. This is good quality content, both sharing about upcoming events that are happening in the Free State, which is great if you are already here and want to be engaged, or if you are someone who is thinking about coming to visit and getting a taste of the revolution that's brewing in the Live Free or Die state. So be sure to do that. And you know what else is brewing in the Live Free or Die state? Well, it is our sponsor, Porcupine Coffee Roasting. In fact, I've got some coffee from them right here in my mug that I got this February at the 9th annual Porcupine Day. 10th annual Porcupine Day is next February. We're planning it already. But our sponsor for today's episode, as most episodes, is Porcupine Coffee Roasting. And I just opened a new bag because I get a subscription from them. This bag is from Guatemala, with flavor notes of milk, chocolate, almond, apricot, brown sugar, and it's a dark roast. Personally, I like the dark roast. And is it good? Heck yeah, it's good. I love this. So it is roasted right here in the Free State by Free Staters. It is a private membership association that embodies the Live Free or Die ethic. They only roast specialty grade beans from small producers. Those beans are always fresh, roasted in small batches to order, and with a roast date you can trust. I assure you, you will never get any stale beans, only fresh beans from Porcupine Coffee Roasting. And here's the deal. If you go to their website, porcupinecoffeeroasting.com, and you use discount code PORCREPORT, you can get 15% off your order of individual products, plus a portion of your purchase will go to help support this very program. So that's a win-win-win. A win for you getting great coffee, a win for Free Staters building economic opportunity here in New Hampshire, and a win for the show because that allows me to keep bringing you a new episode every single Wednesday. So go to porcupinecoffeeroasting.com, use discount code PORKREPORT, get 15% off, and get some great coffee. And stay caffeinated, my friends. I'll be staying caffeinated this whole episode. All right. Talk about a transition going from brewing liberty to brewing coffee. I'm pretty proud of myself for coming up with that one in the moment. Transitions are hard. Let's see how we're going to transition to the next thing. All right. So one thing you will know if you are getting our weekly newsletters is that we get a lot of love letters from Progressive Status here in New Hampshire. I love responding to these love letters. Sometimes our haters are our best advertisers. And there was recently in the Concord Monitor piece, I just wrote an op-ed and submitted it, responding to it by a certain, they call, we're free staters, right? And are people who kind of don't like us so much. I think a free stater is anyone in New Hampshire who believes in a free New Hampshire, anyone who believes that the maximum role of government should be protecting life, liberty, and property. And so those who hate free staters, if they're the opposite of free staters, they could only be one thing: slave staters, right? You either believe in human liberty or you believe in human slavery. I'm proud to stand on the side of human liberty. Anyway, one of these slave staters, her name is Jean Lewandowski, and she published a column in the Concord Monitor that says, "Root out invasive extremists." I just want to read a little bit of this to you to share what's going on here. Well, all right, let me summarize. She compares free staters in New Hampshire to invasive weeds, vines that are just wrapping their ways around the New Hampshire Republican Party and the politics of New Hampshire. She goes on to call, so she's calling us invasive, like we're some foreign ideology in the live free or die state. But here's the funny thing. I was trying to understand who is this person, who is it coming from, and wouldn't you know it, she was born in California. She worked as a government employee in Minnesota, and she's only lived here in New Hampshire for 10 years shorter than the Free State Project has been around. And she has the nerve to call people who believe in the live free or die spirit invasive. Well, she publishes columns. If you look through the columns she's written, it's all typical left-wing expected stuff. Gun control good, Russiagate. But you know what? I take particular offense when you're calling good people who believe in the live free or die spirit invasive, especially when there's some hypocrisy involved. But a few things I want to hit on here. She says, and I thought this was pretty humorous. She goes on and on about how she basically describes a conspiracy. All right. I want you to really let it sink in, this conspiracy. She says, several thousand people have migrated from across the United States, bought land, moved in, and established themselves as quote unquote good neighbors. Many have used the good neighbor strategy to win elected office at the local. And so anyway, so she goes on. I just think this is funny. It's like, this is the grand conspiracy of libertarians, is that we show up and like, we get people to like us because we're good neighbors. It's kind of like, reminds me of like the joke conspiracy theory of libertarians that we're all, where they're part of a grand conspiracy to take over the world and leave everyone alone. So the great evil is that we move in, we're good neighbors. We don't like snitch on our neighbors to the state for violating COVID mandates or for selling pickles without a license in Manchester. We don't push for an income tax to mass up New Hampshire. And we generally protect people's freedoms. And when something goes wrong, we lend a helping hand to our neighbor rather than expecting the government to fix problems for us. So that's the grand conspiracy. We're good neighbors, and apparently it's all a clever ruse. But she goes on to complain about how education freedom accounts are terrible, typical kind of the leftist attack on it. And she says that, there were so many people who spoke in opposition to it at the public hearing, so it's undemocratic that school choice is expanding in New Hampshire. She forgets, of course, that there was an election in 2024, and school choice was the most prominent issues on both sides of that election. Democrats campaigning against it, Republicans campaigning for it, and the people rewarded Republicans with sweeping historic majorities. If there's anything that Republicans in New Hampshire have had a mandate on this year, it is school choice. But there is a paragraph in here that I thought was a particular piece of art, and I just want to share it with you. Let me find it here. Let's see. Okay. She says, this is a critical moment to stand up for the Granite State. FSP leaders recently told attendees at a training that they plan to accelerate migration to New Hampshire this year to achieve their goal of seceding from the Union and forming an independent nation state powered by unregulated nuclear energy under a cryptocurrency economy. What could possibly go wrong? Well, all right, I had to read that full paragraph to you because I don't know. What do you say to that? I will say I'm not a supporter of secession. I have a lot of questions about how that would work out. I do love the 10th Amendment, and I do love nuclear power, and I do love cryptocurrency. But you know what? I just will hand it to her. I've never heard someone make secession sound so cool. So Jean, thank you for that. And of course, she is throwing together a lot of different ideas from different people, presenting it as a unified agenda. Anyway, I've submitted a response to this op-ed in the Concord Monitor. We'll see if they accept it. I hope that they do. I'll be sure to watch for that if we get that published. But these are the kinds of love letters that we inspire in the state of New Hampshire from progressive statists who just can't stand that there's one state in New England that they don't control. Well, and to Jean and to all the progressive slave staters out there, you know, we're going to work to keep New Hampshire free. And if you don't want to be an invasive ideology in New Hampshire in the live free or die state, if you think that it's wrong to be invasive, as Jean accuses other people of being, then I encourage you to pick any other New England state, and you'll find that your ideas rule the roost there. But in New Hampshire, we're going to live free or die. And speaking of, within the Free State Project, we are doing a lot right now to build out opportunities to bring more people in and to engage with folks who love liberty who are already here. And so we're doing more outreach and invites, more going out to external communities and creating more events here in the Free State to invite people to come out and get to know the Free State communities. So let me talk a little bit about some of the outreach that we're doing. I really appreciate it. Actually, I got to this Saturday speak at the New Hampshire Hazlitt Summit hosted by our friends at Young Americans for Liberty. I got to speak with state legislators here in New Hampshire about the importance of Defend the Guard legislation, as well as the importance of what I think, from my experience in the legislature, embracing a philosophy of stoicism to stand on your principles for liberty when you're serving in an elected office. So anyway, I appreciate everyone who is out there for that, and to Young Americans for Liberty for inviting me to speak. But what I was really excited about this weekend was we were gearing up to go back to the other state that I love, which has sadly fallen to pretty bad tyrannies these last 6 years, the state of Maine. We went to and we held an outreach event at the Augusta Gun Show. Before I get to that, as we were preparing for it, something came out last week from the governor of Maine. She had some words to say about New Hampshire, which threw me back a little bit. I think she was projecting a little bit of her feelings onto other people of the state. Let's run the video and let's see what Governor Janet Mills of Maine has to say about New Hampshire.
Do you have a reason why Maine is the best state?
Oh, gosh, we're the best people. Mm-hmm. We only border one other state, and we don't necessarily like them, New Hampshire.
The message for New Hampshire?
Move to Maine.
Well, you know what? Janet Mills, I will say, I know a lot of people in Maine who like a lot of the policies that exist in New Hampshire, and they're not big fans of yours. Now, frankly, a lot of them are up in the 2nd District of Maine, which I have suggested at times maybe you should consider breaking away and joining New Hampshire so they can have no income tax, no sales tax, school choice, and all the policies they've wanted for so long, but the progressive control of the state from Portland, Maine blocks every single time. But anyway, I thought that was a little off base, Janet Mills. Because when we went to the Augusta Gun Show, we sent out our outreach team to the Augusta Gun Show, and we met with a lot of Maine people who were fairly depressed. Were fairly depressed about the state of their state, and it's not just because their gun rights are under attack, as there's a red flag gun confiscation referendum on the ballot this November in Maine. It's also so many other things. The fact that taxes have gone up in Maine, what was already one of the highest tax states in the country under Janet Mills, spending, the size of the budget has nearly doubled in 6 years. After the COVID lockdowns, school test scores have fallen to record lows as the education system is failing to deliver results for kids. The healthcare systems are failing after Janet Mills enforced very strict COVID vaccine mandates and fired 10% of the healthcare workforce, including those with natural immunity. She shut down businesses. She was an absolute tyrant. And a lot of people in Maine are getting pretty fed up with it, which is why when we went to the Augusta Gun Show this weekend, appreciate all of our volunteers who came out, including our ambassador to Maine, Jamie Hussey, who recently moved from Maine. She was a leader in the Maine Libertarian Party, now a Free Stater, and helping us reach out, and she helped organize this outreach event. Anyway, we got something like 60 new emails of people who wanted to hear more about what we're doing in New Hampshire and come out to events. We're going to be doing more outreach events like this, particularly around New England, because, I mean, let's be honest, if you love liberty and you're in Maine or Vermont or Massachusetts, it's getting pretty hard to hope that things are going to turn around. But what we're building here in New Hampshire is something we could certainly use your help to pitch in and help build the free state. So very responsive audience there. And we're always looking for more volunteers for our outreach team as we head out to more events. Feel free to shoot me an email, breaky@fsp.org, if you're interested, and we can get you plugged in to help out with some outreach. Of course, outreaching is just the first part. We want to invite people to come in, and that's, of course, why I want to tell you about some of the upcoming events that are happening in the Free State. As I've mentioned in past episodes, we're very excited to be hosting in September 21st, the very first annual Granite Freedom Trek. It's a 5-mile hike we're doing in Alexandria, New Hampshire, around two great mountains there. Tickets are very affordable, $35, but it is limited. We have limited numbers of tickets available. We're trying to keep the group small. And what do you get for your $35? Not only you get to go hiking with a great group, including myself and FSP founder Jason Sorens, but we also have a great expert guide, Derek Prue. You're going to get a commemorative T-shirt, and if you join us for the after event, you'll get a free drink ticket with your ticket. So some good value there, very affordable. Come out and join us September 21st for the Granite Freedom Trek. So if you love liberty and love the outdoors, this event is for you. And then October, we're looking forward to a very active October, very active specifically around Columbus Day weekend. On the Sunday of Columbus Day weekend, we have the Free State Bitcoin Digital Asset Conference, and also known as FSBDAC. That's going to be in Newcastle at Wentworth by the Sea. It's put on by our friends Bruce and Carol Ann Fenton. This is for everyone who wants to be there for cutting edge conversations about Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, digital assets, blockchain. A great opportunity for you to come out October 12th, the Sunday of the long Columbus Day weekend. And that's not all happening on Columbus Day weekend. In fact, we're going to be talking a little bit more in depth about the other thing that's happening on Columbus Day weekend, which is Fall Fest in the Free State. And this is being hosted by our friends at Independence Realty Group. So these are a series of family-friendly events that are taking place in various parts of New Hampshire. Come out and navigate a corn maze, pick some fresh New England apples, test your axe throwing abilities, visit the biggest arcade in the world, enjoy some live music, and I think a lot of people's personal favorite event is the family hike. I know a lot of people are asking me with the Granite Freedom Trek. A lot of people have been asking, is that something what if I want to bring out my young kids like under the age of 5? Is this something for them? I tell them, the Granite Freedom Trek, I don't know, you got to be a judge as a parent if your kid is up for that. It is a 5-mile hike, and it's a moderate difficulty trail. But we do have, with Fall Fest, of course, we have a very family-friendly hike available as well. So you can decide what is more the speed for your youngins if you want to bring your youngins along. So we're looking forward to all these events. All these are great opportunities to visit New Hampshire if you're from the outside, or to engage with your fellow Free Staters if you're already here in New Hampshire. Now, I do want to welcome to the show one of the organizers for Fall Fest in the Free State. She is a Free Stater herself. She is a realtor with Independence Realty. She, for several years, was the lead producer and assistant producer of the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and all-around great person, good person to know. Her name is Constance Spencer. Let's welcome her to the show.
Well, thanks, Eric. That was really sweet.
Well, glad to have you on, Constance. Thank you for continuing to build out great invite opportunities to invite people to come and join us in New Hampshire. First of all, how are you doing? And how's your summer been in the Free State so far? And then we can talk about Fall Fest.
Summers are always busy. There is so much to do in New Hampshire in the summer. It's been a great summer. I replaced my backyard pool. I bought a house with a pool. It collapsed over the winter. So yes, New England winters can be tough, especially when you're a new pool owner, but it was probably a 25-year-old pool that came with the house. So I replaced that. So I'm learning all about pool chemistry this year. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, I'm a first-time homeowner, and I'm glad that I'm not dealing with learning pool maintenance yet. It's been enough to have to learn how to deal with finding plumbers and electricians, and thankfully there've been a lot of good folks that Free Staters have recommended to me. So it's been less of a scary endeavor than I imagined it was going to be. So and your friend Jack Garber, my realtor, has been very helpful with that at Independence Realty Group. So we love all of our realtors in New Hampshire, and I always appreciate that.
My options were pretty limited because it was off the deck. So I either had a 4-foot drop or a 4-foot drop into a pool. So I chose the pool.
All right. Well, that's a good choice. So what can you tell us about Fall Fest? I know that this is something that has been put on several years in a row. I know I was in the middle. I was just getting situated last year, and I think I made it out to the apple picking event, but I wasn't able to get to some of the others. I'm looking forward to being at some more of these this year, between Fall Fest and the Free State Bitcoin Digital Asset Conference. What can you tell everyone about Fall Fest, and why should they come out?
So Fall Fest started years ago as an idea to encourage people to visit New Hampshire with their families at a time that New Hampshire puts on its prettiest show. And October is Columbus Day weekend just as a natural fit because it's a long weekend. So years ago, I started a corn maze event as an appreciation for previous clients, as a real estate agent, but also as a way to build up to making this a multi-day event. And then a few years ago, we did just that. We put on an entire weekend of events, and some of the staples from that are the apple picking, the family hike, and the fun spot arcade day, all of which have been very popular and very appreciated. Different years, we've done other events, and we are always happy to promote other people's events as well. So if you have something going on that weekend, we'd love to promote it, especially if it's a family-friendly activity, because I just feel like if you come to New Hampshire in October and see all the great things that are available for your family, you're going to be hard-pressed not to want to move here and have this available for you.
I know that all of New England is valued for, the fall foliage. People travel from all over to come to New England as the leaves are changing and the views are truly breathtaking, especially as you head up into the mountains. I mean, it is something to behold. And while the fall foliage is not unique to New Hampshire, you can find it in Maine, you can find it in Vermont. New Hampshire is the only place where you can get this foliage without fascism. You can get autumn without communism. New Hampshire in the Free State is really, I think, the best place if you want to both enjoy the fall and breathe free at the same time. And Fall Fest is a great opportunity to bring the whole family out. Any particularly fond memories from past Fall Fest events?
Oh, I've got lots of them. I mean, the corn maze, I specifically want to talk about because that's my event, the one that I've been planning for years. I used to do it at a location that is no longer putting in corn mazes. They've actually closed their operation completely. But that was an excellent opportunity because at the same time, former clients of mine who are Free Staters opened their own corn maze at 10 Acre Farm in Hillsborough. So that last year was our first year there, and it was a great time. I brought, so I'm also a huge Halloween fan, which is another reason to love October, and I have some pretty amazing Halloween decorations that have accumulated. But the year before on clearance, I'd gotten a huge hand that was tall enough you could walk, like it's like a 12-foot tall inflatable. So I had a bunch of little toddlers running through the fingers of the hand, and they just loved it. It lit up. I think it's you can see it in some of the pictures. So that was really fun. But I'm also super excited for this year, and we've extended the hours because Julie, the owner, one of the owners at the 10 Acre Farm, told me that they're going to have two parts to the maze again. They're going to have the easier part in the front. But the harder part is actually going to be closed after dark. So we have to get there early because it is so much harder. So that'll be really exciting if you like your puzzles and you want to see how well you can navigate through corn that is 8 to 10 feet tall. So it's a good time.
What day is the corn maze on? Is that on Saturday, Sunday, or Monday?
It kicks off. It's always the kickoff event. So Friday the 10th. In the evening, so 4 to 8. Great. Yeah. Hopefully you have no conflicts and you can come out to Hillsborough. And I don't know if you know, like the Kellys and see their farm, but it's a nice. And there's pumpkins there.
Well, I will definitely plan to be there, and I certainly hope others will come out and join us as well. And I know the corn maze sounds like it'll be a lot of fun. I know the apple picking I got to experience last year, and New Hampshire apples are New England apples are where it's at. I know my wife always wants me to bring back many bushels, and this is a great time of year to pick them fresh and have that authentic New England experience. I know the arcade day is always a very popular one, and as I understand it right, it's I'm sorry, my wife actually took me there on one of our first dates. But it's fun. I always want to call it Fun World, but it's Fun Spot, right?
Fun Spot. Yep.
Spot. And this is the biggest arcade in the world. It's right here in New Hampshire. Is that right?
I believe it was. I don't know if it still is. But I know for a long time they advertised as that. But okay. I mean the historic pinball games and the photos on the wall, they're just absolutely amazing. And from what I understand, the original owner of the arcade is 100% a libertarian. So
I have seen photos outside of that arcade with the sign out front, "Who is John Galt?" So that does seem to be a pretty big indicator that there's some sympathetic views there.
And that one is hosted by Aubrey Friedman of my team, of the Independence Realty Group team. So he'll be there. He's got pizza that he provides, and we like people just to come and hang out at the tables. We're usually surrounded by other tables of kids' birthday parties, but that's okay. We're our own little birthday. We're just look a little different than the other tables. So yeah, it's a good time.
And then I know that I've heard from Jack that there's going to be an event at the Rugged Axe, which is where we held Porcupine Day this year, which I know that was a lot of fun. We had a lot of the axe throwing, and I wasn't quite sure what to expect, but we all had a lot of fun there. So I guess this is an opportunity for folks, if they missed that or if they want to return, they'll be in you can test your axe throwing abilities.
Yeah, he's trying a different event this year. He's done different things for the fall festival. He's tried bowling, which isn't exactly the spirit that a lot of people were looking for. And we did a dance party last year, but that wasn't really the right vibe either for families. So axe throwing, we're going to do axe throwing this year, and I appreciate Jack setting that up. And yeah, it was a lot of fun for Porcupine Day.
Yeah,
which was also my birthday.
Porcupine Day is your birthday, or the axe throwing for fall?
The axe throwing was on my birthday. Porcupine Day is the day after my birthday.
Oh,
February 2nd is my birthday, which is when you had the event. So I was like, ooh, the FSP threw me another birthday party.
We held it on Groundhog Day, if I remember right, this year. So
yeah,
but I guess Groundhog Day probably moves around the calendar. Your birthday probably isn't Groundhog Day every year, or is it?
No, February 2nd is always Groundhog's Day, and it's always my birthday. Yeah.
Maybe I figured it was like Easter where it moves around. I guess
right. Yeah.
groundhogs do it different. So, okay,
all right. They torment that poor guy every year on February 2nd.
And then I know there's been a lot of interest in the family hike, particularly as I mentioned, people asking about the Granite Freedom Trek who have younger kids they want to go hiking with. Anything you want to say about the family hike for those who are interested?
It's a lot of fun. I mean, we meet in the parking lot at the Audubon Society in Auburn, and the first thing you do is kind of walk through a field, and then you go into the woods, and it's right on like Massabesic. So depending on your kid's ability to walk, you can see a lot of that or a little bit. You know, it's nice to hike with families because you go at a pace where you can get to know other adults too. You're not. I don't think if I do the 5 miles up moderately difficult mountains that I'll be having a lot of conversation personally. You know?
Well, so we have offerings for all different abilities and skill sets. So,
and I like to hike, so it's just I know my limits.
Well, I'm looking forward to hopefully being able to do both. Anyway, so it sounds like it's going to be a great weekend for families to visit New Hampshire, or families who are already here to get engaged. And
yeah,
I know,
and I would like to say something about that. A lot of these events we structure in such a way that if you're a visitor, we just want you to come. But if you're local, we want you to bring a dish or contribute in some way. And so I want to point that out. Like if the potluck on Friday night, if you're local, bring a dish. And if you're a visitor, please don't feel obligated that you have to try to find something to bring to the potluck. We just want you to come and introduce yourself and get to know other people and let us answer your questions about like where we live, what are the schools like, what is homeschooling like, what are these charter schools, what is home. You know, there's so many things that we would be more than happy to answer while you navigate a maze.
And I know that for those who want to learn more or to RSVP, there's a site now. We have a redirect. So this is being hosted and put on by Independence Realty, but we have a redirect URL. So for anyone who would like to find it, you can go to fsp.org/fallfest, or you can just go to fsp.org and it's right there on the front page, along with the Granite Freedom Track, along with the Free State Bitcoin Digital Asset Conference. You'll find Fall Fest right there, and a link to the Independent Realty Group's page that has more details on the individual events. Is this something that people should register or RSVP for, Constance, or should they just show up, or is it different from event to event?
It's different from event to event. I currently have it set so you can send me an email if there's any events that you know for sure you want to attend. I cover the first 50 tickets for the corn maze. So if you want to get one of those tickets that are comped, you should definitely shoot me an email. Other events like apple picking, we don't, you're going to pay for your apples at the end. So there's no reason other than if we know you're coming, we'll make sure to look for you and do a group photo and make sure you get plugged in with other folks who are there. So that's the real reason. It's just it makes it easier to get the groups together and have the camaraderie that we're looking for.
Awesome.
I'm not a big tracking people kind of person, so as a libertarian.
Yeah, libertarians, we don't like to be tracked. But I really appreciate, Constance, you and everyone involved putting these events on together. And this is just kind of one example of so many kind of homegrown events. There are some events that are put on officially by the FSP, like Pork Fest and Liberty Forum and Porcupine Day. But then there are just a lot of events in our community that people put on themselves, and we try to help promote so people come out and engage. And some events are pretty small, right? Some events are like little meetups, but some really are I think more significant. And I think that Fall Fest as a real kind of anchor to give people an opportunity to come right as the leaves are changing and to experience autumn in the Free State. I really appreciate all the work that goes into putting this on, and I hope that folks who are watching and folks who are hearing about it in our newsletter and on social media will come on out and join us. Yeah,
I mean, like Amber Daves, who is also on my team, who is doing the apple picking and the family hike. She's running both of those events. She's like, I'm going to do this anyway with my family. It's just fun to open it up to other people and make an event of it. So I don't know if you spotted, Eric, but I am wearing my patron pin.
Oh, I spy it. I spy it there. Well, that's a great opportunity to plug to everyone that we do have right now. I can tell everyone about our Porcupine Patron Program. We do have right now, last I checked, 186 active Porcupine patrons, Constance Spencer being one of them. Thank you, Constance.
I've been for years.
And these are folks who donate at least $100 a year or $10 a month to support the Free State Project. And there's a lot of benefits that come with that, including, I think the thing that most people want is the awesome patron pin. It's awesome in its own right, but it also gets you, when you come to official FSP events like Pork Day or Pork Fest or Liberty Forum, you get some nice perks like access to our Liberty Forum VIP lounge, or at Pork Fest, we had a patron exclusive catered event. Porcupine Day, we had free drink tickets. So there's perks to being a Porcupine patron, along with a lot of other year-round benefits like access to our print quarterly newsletter, access to our patron exclusive Signal group. In fact, right after I record this, we finished recording today, I'm going to be switching over. We're doing our monthly patron conference call. We're going to be giving kind of behind the scenes look to all of our patrons who join us for it, some of the goings on and things that we're working on at the Free State Project, an opportunity to get feedback from those who are investing in making it happen. So I will mention, Constance, since you set me up for it, I appreciate it very much that you can, everyone can go to fsp.org/give to become a patron. We are trying to get to 200 patrons by the end of August, and August is quickly approaching. We're 14 shy. So if you are not yet a patron, help us out. Throw us a few bucks. It's tax deductible, and you can do that at fsp.org/give. So,
I'll have to think if there's anything I can do for people that attend the Fall Fest events with their pin. I'll think about that, because I'd like to keep that tradition going, that they get something special for attending events. So.
Yeah, I wonder, maybe we can brainstorm on something cool, commemorative something or another, or I don't know.
I think I'm out of my tick keys, which are absolutely awesome. I don't know if you ever got one of them, Eric, but people are like, we don't want your branded real estate on a tick key, but they are amazing. And in New Hampshire, if you're going on a hike, you should have an Independence Realty tick key. So I'll have to look and see if I have one. I'll get you one. They're great. I used it on my dog just a month ago. So very useful.
Always good to be prepared.
Yeah.
We have enough ticks in government, the blood-sucking parasites, right? We have what do they say? Politics means poly, many, ticks meaning blood-sucking parasites. We deal with enough of that from the government. We don't need any of them staying on us when we go out for a nice hike. So always be prepared. Any other final thoughts you want to share with folks about Fall Fest or anything else, Constance?
We've been doing it for years, and hopefully you hear about this in time to come this year. But if not, there is next year. And please, if you're in New Hampshire and you live here and you're like, my favorite thing to do Columbus Day weekend is, reach out to me. Let me add it to the list of events. Let's get more people to see how awesome New Hampshire is in general, but especially in October. I wish I could remember the exact quote from Anna Green Gables, but it's something like, you know, I can't believe that I will live in a world where there are Octobers. It's an amazing month.
And as we're noting, New Hampshire is so awesome that it is in fact still Columbus Day weekend. I think probably every other New England state, it's called something different now. So
yeah. And if you come for Columbus Day, just, you know, stick around for some skeletons in October. I mean, you have to move here, obviously, for that.
Absolutely. No, I try to do the soft sell. We want people to move here, but hopefully when they come here and they visit, they'll sell themselves on moving here because they'll fall in love with the beauty and the people and the community. And that's
what happened to me. I went to one Pork Fest and I was here before the next Pork Fest rolled around, like with 4 kids 10 and under. That was over a decade ago. So you come to an event, I assume you're going to move because you're going to have a similar experience to me where you're like, and I lived in Alaska. I lived in a state that was amazing for freedom and I had a great community, but New Hampshire's special.
It is. And it's special because of the people and the community. And I was thinking about this earlier today, actually, how it seems to me like New England itself, it's right, always been a hotbed for the libertarian spirit, right? Going back to the Pine Tree Riot and the Battle of Machias and the Boston Tea Party. It's got that real strong, I think there's something really special about the New England kind of libertarian streak here. But the contradiction of New England is it's also like where kind of this American progressivism has all originated from. So that's the contradiction of New England. And as kind of progressivism has taken over every other state, I guess it has turned to the benefit of New Hampshire because so many freedom lovers from Vermont and Maine and Massachusetts and even going south and to like New York, they've been fleeing to New Hampshire. And that's why, you know, New Hampshire's become such a uniquely free state. There's already a lot of, you know, good principles there, but it is special.
Yeah, and personally, I, like you, grew up in the Midwest, and then I moved to Alaska and lived there for 14 years. So when I came to New Hampshire, it was like, well, there's a little bit of what I liked about the Midwest, which I can't say is a lot, but there's a little bit. Like grew up in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains, so the scenery. And there's a lot of things that remind me of Alaska here, but it's like a perfect balance of the two, you know. For me, I love that I have the ocean available, which you don't get in Ohio, and the spirit of the people and the mountains and moose, you know, things that I loved about Alaska without the remoteness. So it's great.
I would. I've never visited Alaska. I would love to sometime. I do love kind of the idea of the big kind of frozen frontier, but I can't imagine year round. I can't imagine how I could live with the extended darkness and in the winters and the extended daylight in the summers. That seems very bizarre to me.
Yeah. When people are like, it's too cold in New Hampshire, I'm like, I moved from Alaska. It's a little warm, actually.
Yeah,
it's great. No, it was unusual for sure because I was not from there, but I lived there for 14 years, and I guess we need to do an outreach event in Alaska someday, and I'll take you, and we'll you'll see why it would have been a terrible choice for the FSP because it is so vast.
Yeah,
nothing is close to anything. I was from the Kenai Peninsula, which is the size of New Hampshire, just that tiny peninsula.
I think that is, I think, such an interesting point. I know, in the history of the Free State Project, right, the final two states were, I know Alaska was on in the running.
I think it was in the top 5.
Yeah, Alaska was. Wyoming was the runner-up, but ultimately, and maybe this is just kind of the bias of looking back in history and justifying the choices that were made, but it does seem to me that something about New Hampshire being not just a small population state, but small state geographically too, means that 20,000 people moving to the state not just affects the political dynamics of the state, but because people are physically concentrated, it's much easier to form actual strong community. Whereas in, you take 20,000 people and you drop them in Alaska, unless they all drop off in towns that are close to each other, you could spread out those people, and maybe that's 20,000 votes, but that's not 20,000 people building necessarily, strong community with each other.
Yeah, it would definitely be tough. I mean, there's great community in Alaska, but it would be hard to I mean, just getting to Anchorage to see my in-laws when I lived there was a almost 3-hour drive.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people own planes for that reason in Alaska.
Yeah, I was not one of those, but
Well, Constance, I really appreciate you coming on the show and building Fall Fest, and I look forward to it myself, and I invite all of our audience to come out, join us, meet us there for Fall Fest. Bring your kids, bring the family. It'll be a great time.
Bring some kids. Mine are all teen or older now, so they don't want to do fun stuff with mom now. So bring me some little kids to play with.
Awesome. Thank you, Constance. All right, everyone. That's the show. I was thinking about throwing on some bonus content with a conversation I did with Chip Roy and Justin Amash, but I think we filled the time of this episode pretty good. And I'll just say, if you want to catch that, I did a conversation with Justin Amash and Chip Roy while I was at the Ron Paul 90th birthday. You can find that on all of our social media pages if you care to see it. So we won't throw that on as bonus content here. I don't want the episode to be too long. We had such a great conversation. But again, a reminder, please get your tickets to the Granite Freedom Trek, get your tickets to the Free State Bitcoin Digital Asset Conference, and make your plans and RSVP for Fall Fest in the Free State. All of these coming up in the next 2 months. And let's see, what else to say? If you haven't, please consider becoming a patron. It really makes a big difference. $100 a year. I hope that the work that we're doing through the podcast, through the newsletters, through the events that we're hosting, through the outreach events that we're doing, I hope that we have demonstrated that if you are someone who is committed to the idea of building a libertarian homeland in the state of New Hampshire, I hope that we've demonstrated to you that the work we're doing is worth at least $100 in value to help support this nonprofit organization for which your donations are tax deductible. I'd love to get to 200 patrons by the end of August. We need 14 more, and I would love to count you in as one of them. If you become a patron at fsp.org/give, I will personally mail you your Porcupine patron pin with a personalized handwritten thank you card from me or my associate, Aaron Daly, who is helping with our patron program. And you'll have access to all the benefits that come with being a Porcupine patron. Learn more at fsp.org/give and, send us a few bucks. Help support building liberty in our lifetime. Really appreciate all of you watching, tuning in, and all the continued feedback and support that comes. So see you in the Free State soon. Next week, Spike Cohen. Be sure to tune in for that. And furthermore, my opinion is the Federal Reserve should be destroyed.